Hey everyone, in this video, I'm going to show you how I make a hammer eye punch without having a hammer eye punch, a good old blacksmith's paradox. So what I'll do is use a hammerhead that already has the eye hole in it, and then I'll just forge out a striking surface on one side and the punch on the other. So the first thing that I do is heat it up in the forge and take it to this little press that I made, and then I'll separate the face from where the eye is. That way I can use that material and forge it down to a punch on one side and a striking surface on the other side. So the press that I'm using is the 5-ton electric log splitter press that I made. Honestly, it's not too bad for a press that you could literally just plug into the wall and start using. I have it hooked up to a 20 amp fuse with its own dedicated line. Once I separate both sides from the center, I'll go ahead and square up one side. And then I'll switch to the fullering dies and draw it out to the length that I need. Once I'm done with the press, I'll take it to the anvil and clean everything up on the face and make sure that the taper is the way I like it. And then I use the horn for the transition between the eye and the taper. I have a little extra material here, so I'm going to cut it off with the angle grinder. I'll use the cutoff wheel and get rid of that. And then I'll switch to the grinding wheel and knock over these corners and give it a more rounded out shape. Once I get the profile pretty close to where I like it with the angle grinder, I'll switch to the belt grinder and finalize the profile. And I also want the surface to be smooth so it glides through the metal a lot easier when you're punching through the billet. So I'll sand the surface up to 240 grit. Now I'm ready to do the heat treat, so I'm going to put it in the forge and get it heated up to about 1550 degrees, and then I'll quench it in parts 50 quench oil, and I'll make sure to heat up that quench oil to about 120 degrees. I'm just going to quench the side with the punch. I don't want to quench the striking surface. That way it'll be safe to strike that surface with your hammer. The file skates pretty good and I got some nice bounce on here, so I'm going to go ahead and temper it at 400 degrees for about an hour and a half. And then for the handle, I'm just going to use the original handle from the hammer. So I'll cut off the material from where I drilled out the wedge, and then I'll just grind that material back to match the tip. And then I make sure to blend this in so that way it'll seep real nice into the head where the hourglass shape is. And then I just use a saw to cut a slit into the top here and mount the hammer. I just cut the extra material off flush with the top, and then I'll use this wedge and put it at a 90-degree angle and pound it all the way down. And I always like to flip these things around as I'm pounding it in, just to make sure it stays going in straight. The final weight is just about 2 pounds. And now I want to test it out and make sure it works. Alright, so I feel like that worked pretty good. Now all I gotta do is forge a hammer eye drift. That way I can drift that hole big enough for a hammer handle, and I'll be one step closer to making my own hammer. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you have any questions, leave a comment and I will definitely get back to you. And if you did like the video, please click the like button and subscribe for more videos. Thank you.